दिनेश कुमार, डायरेक्टर राकेश दुबे सर, राकेश दुबे। आप बताइए, आप मुझे बताइए, माय राइटिंग है।
स्टार्टअप इनोवेशन, डायरेक्टर स्टार्टअप एंड इनोवेशन। From STPI, Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India। STPI,
एक सेकंड जी, एक सेकंड जी, थोड़ा सा ना ये दीज गेट वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग। एक सेकंड। फ्रॉम STPI थैंक यू। Can I request you all to kindly take your seats, please? We're about to start. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mandakini Menon from Steel Authority of India Limited, and it is my privilege to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for this interactive session on artificial intelligence organized as part of the AI Impact Summit 2026. On behalf of the Ministry of Steel, Government of India, I extend a very warm welcome to all distinguished delegates, senior officials, industry leaders, technology partners, young entrepreneurs from startups, and participants present with us here today. It is an honor to have with us Sri Sandeep Pondrik, Secretary, Ministry of Steel, Government of India, senior officials from the Ministry of Steel, CMDs of SAIL, MOIL, MECON, MSTC, and digital transformation teams of CPSCs. May I now request Sri V.K. Tripathi, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Steel, to welcome our Chief Guest, Sri Sandeep Pondrik, Secretary, Ministry of Steel, with a token of our appreciation, please. Please, can the token be handed over? The All India Impact Summit, Artificial Intelligence Impact Summit 2026 provides a unique platform to bring together policymakers, public sector enterprises, private industry leaders, startups, MSMEs, and technology innovators to collaborate and address automation challenges and create AI-driven solutions for the steel sector. To elaborate on the vision and key objectives of this session, I now invite Sri Vinod Kumar Tripathi, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Steel, to please deliver the welcome address. Please, sir.
Namaskar. Secretary Steel, Sri Sandeep Pondrik ji, Senior Officers of Ministry of Steel, Chairman and Managing Directors of CPSCs, Senior Officers from CPSCs, AI solution providers, startups, and friends from media. On behalf of Ministry of Steel, it gives me immense pleasure to warmly welcome all AI companies and startups present here today. We are truly honored to have some of the best talents and brightest minds in artificial intelligence joining us. Your presence reflects the growing synergy between cutting-edge technology and one of the most vital sectors of our economy, steel and mining. I also extend a heartfelt welcome to the leaders of our steel and mining companies present here. Your participation is crucial. You are not just a stakeholder, but the driving force of the sector. Today's platform is an opportunity for you to clearly articulate the area, challenges, and problem statement where artificial intelligence can make a transformative difference, whether in enhancing productivity, improving quality, increasing global competitiveness, optimizing resource optimization, or strengthening safety standards across all areas. The convergence of domain expertise from steel industry and technological innovation from AI startups has the potential to redefine how we operate, compete, and grow. This collaboration is not just about technology adoption, it is about regaining, reimagining processes, enabling smarter decision making, and building a resilient and future ready steel ecosystem. We are privileged to have Steel Research and Technology Mission of India SRTMI with us. This institution plays a pivotal role in bridging the gap between solution seekers and solution providers. They are here to present how they can proactively create structured platform, foster partnership, support pilot projects, and ensure that innovative ideas are translated into scalable and impactful solutions for the industry. This collaborative model, where industry defines its needs, startups and AI solution providers bring innovation, and institutions enable integration, is exactly what will accelerate digital transformation in our sector. As we move forward today, let us focus on meaningful dialogue, practical solutions, and long-term partnerships. The future of steel will not only be forged in furnaces, it will also be shaped by data, intelligence, and innovation. Let this gathering mark the beginning of a stronger collaboration, breakthrough solutions, and digitally empowered steel industry. Thank you, and I wish you all a highly productive and inspiring.
Thank you, Sri Tripathi, for the welcome address. It is now my privilege to invite Sri Sandeep Pondrik, Secretary, Ministry of Steel, to share his insights and expectations from this session and also set the context for our expectations from the startups. Please, sir.
Good morning. First of all, let me welcome all the people who have cared to join this session. I will make a brief presentation rather than a speech because that perhaps is more interesting than a speech. Now, why are we organizing this session? The basic idea is that steel industry is here. I will talk about it later, why it is important for the country. The AI ecosystem is here, both startups and other companies, big companies, medium companies, startups. But we have to find a way so that both the steel sector and the AI ecosystem, they work in synergy so that the country gets the best possible benefit from artificial intelligence. Now, why steel sector? Why should you work in steel sector or for steel sector? We are the only country in the world where steel consumption is growing at a very high pace. As you can see in the slide, the steel consumption in last 5 years has grown from about 95 million tons to 152 million tons, which is more than 50% growth in 5 years. As I will show later, all other major economies are either stagnant or in fact they are decreasing. So we are the bright spot. Now, this is the steel consumption of other countries and global. So as you can see, globally the steel consumption in the year 24 decreased by about 0.4%, and all other major economies, the steel consumption actually decreased. It is also logical because they are in the part of the slope where they have developed a lot. So not so many greenfield projects are coming, and that's why the steel consumption is not growing there. It's basically replacement. In India, we are developing very fast. We have one of the fastest growth of GDP, and that's why our steel consumption is growing. Linked to the steel consumption is our capacity. Not only our consumption is growing, our capacity is growing. And as you can see, in last 5 years, we have added more than 50 million tons of capacity. And mind you, we are the only country in the world which is adding capacity. Everywhere else, either the steel plants are closing or they are working at partial capacities. We are the only country where steel capacity is increasing and increasing phenomenally. So it's a growing sector. It is a sector which is booming. Just to point out that this after 200 is last year's capacity. This year too, we have added about 20 million tons capacity already. So we are roughly adding 20 million tons per annum. These are the steel makers which you have heard about. SAIL, JSW, Tatas, Jindals. They have a capacity of about 116 million tons. Everybody is aware about them. They are called integrated steel producers or plants. But then 47% of India's steel is produced by small players. Why I am saying this is that these are not the only companies with which you can aspire to work. There are about 2,200 steel units in the country, small steel units, which produce roughly half of the steel in the country. And these are the 1,200 companies. 1,200 are re-rolling and about the same number primary steel. So roughly 2,200 with a capacity of 101 million tons. This is the present day capacity. So there is huge scope for work in the steel sector. As you can see, we are number 2 in the world, but China dominates the steel sector. They have a capacity of about 1,100 million tons. We are number 2 at 200. And after that, there is large gap. Japan plus Korea is less than 200, and as you can see the other. So we are emerging as the future steel hub as we are growing. And in next 5 years, we are likely to add about 100 million tons. And in next 10 years, we are likely to add about 200 million tons. So we are likely to double our steel capacity in next 10 years, which means an investment of about $200 billion. 1 million ton capacity roughly takes $1 billion. So that is the investment which is going to happen in the steel sector. And you should be part of this journey. Now coming to the present day AI summit context. How is AI important for steel sector? I have just taken 3 or 4 case studies, not many. The speakers after me will speak in detail about what they are doing in their companies. But the scope or potential, as you know, is immense, or rather without limits. But steel sector, like any other sector, if we don't board the AI train, we will be left behind. So that's why steel sector is interested to board this train. Some of the areas where it can be used is, I will talk about it, but AI will be used only for some of the, not because we want to do AI. It should lead to some economic benefit, or it should improve the safety, or it should improve the time, which will again lead to economic benefit, or it's some ESG related issues. So either there is an economic benefit or some safety or environment related benefit. Then only AI should be used. Some of the areas where AI can be used for steel, one is obviously the smart plant operations. There are many case studies which the steel sector is doing, but then there are, I think we have just skimmed the surface of the potential. There are hundreds of cases which can be used. Mining. Mining is again, you may not be aware, but National Mineral Development Corporation, the biggest iron ore miner in the country, is in the steel ministry. It works for steel. And they also have large scope for mining related intervention. Logistics. When you produce 1 ton of steel, you move 5 ton of raw material plus product. So when we have 200 million tons of capacity and we produce 150 million tons of steel roughly last year, we moved about 750 million tons of raw material plus product in the country. And that's why logistics become very important. If you save 1 rupee, it is important because the scale is enormous. Market and commercial intelligence, like any other product, steel is sold as a product. So this is another avenue. If SAIL is able to take 10 rupees extra from whatever they are getting on their product, that gets into their both top line and bottom line. So market intelligence. Now, as I said, there are some initiatives which are already taking place. People will talk about it in detail. I'm just running through them. Stockpile management. As I said, 4 times is the quantity of the raw material as compared to the product. So stockpiles are like mountains of coal and iron ore. Their management is very important and very cost saving is possible there. Drilling and blasting and mining, we still follow some of the old practices. How can we modernize? As all of you are seeing in this AI summit, that there are so many interventions which can be used to improve the precision of drilling, to improve the safety, all of these things. Fleet management, again related to logistics. NMDC and SAIL. SAIL is the second biggest iron ore miner in the country after NMDC. They move hundreds of dumpers every day within mines and thousands of trucks and railway wagons go from their mines every day. And then coming to the core of the steel plants, the blast furnace. Then there are other units, printers, SMS. Every unit of a steel plant has a potential to reduce cost using AI. So there is a scope, there is a desire, we are growing. How can we take this collaboration between AI ecosystem and steel sector forward? We have an institution called Steel Research and Technology Mission of India. Many of you must have a question. If I have a solution, if I want to respond to a challenge posed by the steel sector, how do I approach? Whom do I approach? So SRTMI, we are posing as a single point of contact for startups. Though it is primarily a research and technology institution, but it will work as a channel for steel sector to bridge the gap between the steel companies and startups. So in the bottom of the slide, there is a link. You can go to the website. You can do one of those two things. Either there are some problems or some challenges which are given by the steel sector. I want solution for this problem. Can you give it to me? Or you have certain solution which you think is relevant. So, somebody was talking to me just before coming here that I can use my solution to improve the quality of steel. So if you have some solution which is relevant, you can give that solution and the steel companies will have a look. So this is a single channel, but each company, be it SAIL, be it Tata, JSW, NMDC, all of them have their own channels of contact, but this is one single point of contact or channel from the ministry. I would also like to mention that in April, we will have a Bharat Steel International Conference, similar to what we are doing for AI now, on 16th and 17th, so that conference is focused on steel, not on AI. But AI and automation will also be discussed. You are welcome to come there. There are still 2 months. In the meanwhile, you can get in touch, try to find some solutions, address some challenges, and we can meet again in Bharat Steel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful and visionary remarks that will guide the direction of today's discussions. We shall now proceed to the technical presentations. We begin with a presentation by Shri Deepak Jain, Executive Director, Digital Transformation Steel Authority of India Limited, along with Shri Prabhav Sharma, Partner, McKinsey & Company.
Suprabhat, I welcome everybody from all the companies who are representing their stalls and their exhibitors in this summit. My name is Deepak Jain. I represent Steel Authority of India Limited. There is a vertical in SAIL which is called Digital Transformation Division. And along with me, I have Prabhav, as we'll discover in the later part of this presentation, that SAIL has partnered with McKinsey for driving our digital transformation journey. So Prabhav, who is a partner in McKinsey, will also be presenting immediately after me. So a brief about SAIL for those of you who are not, who do not really know the intricacies of steel. SAIL is a Maharatna Central Public Sector enterprise under Ministry of Steel. It was incorporated on 24 January 1973, headquartered at Delhi. We have several steel plants, integrated steel plants and special steel units. So we are geographically distributed all across India. We, like Secretary Sir was telling, we have got iron ore mines of our own from where we move iron ore. There are iron ore mines in Odisha group, there are iron ore mines in Jharkhand group, and also in Chhattisgarh group. Then we have our own collieries, we have got flux mines, and we have got some special steel units. So SAIL is one of the few steel companies globally who have the entire value chain for steel, from mining right up to the marketing, and we go through all the processes of raw material handling, which is typical to any steel plant: iron making, steel making, rolling, and finishing. Why we are here? We are here to collaborate with a lot of you who can help us find solutions. And what SAIL aspires is to leverage the current ongoing technology in the field of machine learning, artificial intelligence, data analytics, to transform our way of working, our operations. So basically the transformation of the operational backbone is like the process which are inherent to the steel making, like iron making, where we have blast furnaces, where we've got raw material handling sections, we've got coal handling plants, we've got coke ovens. So there are a lot of processes are involved for making steel, and which have opportunity and which have some potential for improvement and improving the efficiency of the process. Also, since data analytics is about data, then there is a vision to have our own data tech and in the infra setup, wherein we can pull in the data from our existing PLCs, SCADA, HMIs, and make a complete data lake and data pipelines right up to the cloud and even in some cases where latency is important to have it on premises. So this is one vision to have an update technology and data infrastructure so that data is available for analytics. And of course, we want to foster sustainability through systematic change management, because any transformation is a cultural change. The operators who are accustomed to do things in a particular manner, the people who are running the processes are either by way of experience or by way of their the convention, the practices. They need to be transformed to a state where they can use the they take data-driven decisions, and they rely on the models, the various data analytic tools to take decisions and to modify the processes. Also, SAIL has a vision to do all this with most of the internal resources. We have a huge talent pool in-house, and we want to just upskill them, bring them to the level where they can act as data scientists, data engineers, visualization engineers, and build these models which are going to help us by themselves. So right from ideation of the process to the delivery, we want to have our own teams doing it. And of course, we can go along where the things are already there. Some proof is already there. Some capability is already there with the external agencies like you. We would definitely like to leverage that expertise into our operations. So like Secretary Sir was also saying, you can see that the basic aim is to have to adopt those processes or those technologies of artificial intelligence where we have got some significant value unlock potential, where there is some economic benefit which is there inherent, and also where we have some the processes which can help us improve our safety, environment, and even time, as I was saying. SAIL is already going through already taken some initiatives, and we have mostly concentrating. These are key focus areas where we are trying to adopt artificial intelligence technologies. One is obviously the production optimization, where we want to have opportunities of throughput improvement, yield improvement, defect detection, where we get some value, some betterment in our processes. Then another area is asset health monitoring, where we want to have some systems for condition monitoring of our equipment which are running, so that we can get a real-time assessment of their health, whether they are going to be a failure in future, whether we can prevent that failure by timely intervention. And similarly for predictive maintenance, instead of focusing for the breakdowns to happen, we want to have some systems which will assist us in understanding whether a problem is going to occur, and then have a proactive solution for that. Like Sir was saying, there is a huge involvement of a supply chain. The logistics is there when we get our raw materials from different sources, and then our finished products are also transported to different areas to our various customers. So there are very many opportunities for freight cost optimization, their scheduling, inventory management, and all those things. And we are focusing in these areas as well. Similarly, since whatever product we make has to be marketed, so there are opportunities for improvement in our net sales realization, the cost at which we place our products in the market, and also improvement in the customer experience. Mining, as Sir was saying, SAIL has a second largest iron ore mining in the country, and we have a large fleet, so we want to manage those fleet, have some systems wherein we can determine the most optimal use of fuel by these large vehicles, whether there is any fatigue for the drivers, or those kind of solutions. So SAIL's digitalization journey started way back in 2021, although we were late to start this, but we are on the job now. And we had some piecemeal solutions in the phase 2, wherein we developed some in-house cases, some vendor-driven cases, some self-initiated cases. And then we entered the phase 3, wherein we actually engaged a consultant to drive our journey, where we started upscaling the initiatives that were already in place. And we are currently in this fourth phase of transformation, where we want to uh, just see to it that the artificial intelligence and the machine learning and the data analytics technologies are reaching to the last mile, to the last operator, and then we reap the maximum benefit out of this. So again, this slide focuses on the key opportunity areas that we are looking at. We have five, like I said, we have 5 different plants and different times when they evolved, the processes got developed. So we have got some operating procedures and practices which are different in each unit, while we are aiming for now have a consistent and a similar way of working for all the similar activities. So this is one opportunity where a lot can be done. Then typically we have some areas where we are not backed by data for taking our decisions. So the decision process becomes small in the for certain, even some routine and day-to-day work. So we want to empower all our employees and the operators to be driven by data, which is a real single instance of truth for everybody, and they get insights about their decisions only by valid data, and which comes to them in real time. Safety has always been a matter of concern for us. We do not want any of our employees to have any sort. We want to aim for a bloodless steel, and this is where we want to leverage the safety. We see a lot of opportunity in this area where we can detect whether, and it is known that most of the cases that we have encountered, somewhere some failure of following SOP has been observed in the later analysis. So we want that, let us say, some camera vision based systems wherein we can identify whether there is a violation of the SOP, whether some PP violation is there. So there, and a lot more opportunities in the safety sector. Similarly, like I've already covered, some predictive maintenance and end-to-end operational visibility. Also, there are many cases where we are doing some manual labor. So let us say we have to park an invoice, so we have to take the data, maybe have an Excel or multiple Excels has multiple data. So it can be automated by using some robotic process automation type of solutions or even agentic AI. So we are looking for those, we have to explore those avenues and have solutions in these areas as well. So all in all, we want to collaborate with startups who can help us with process optimization, the workflow automation, the planning and forecasting, quality and safety. And this is where we are looking for collaborations with startups and the companies, mid-size, large-size companies who can help us in any of these fields. And of course, this list is not exhaustive. If there's any other thing in which you can help us, you're most welcome to connect with us. There is, like I was saying, that we want to have this mostly with the internal competencies. So we are also looking for upskilling our partnerships with education institutes or agencies who can help us bring our engineers and operators to the level where they can themselves act as the data scientists and solution providers. We have already engaged with some of the startups and companies, and this is just one example wherein we went with a startup to provide us a condition-based monitoring of our motors and gearbox and systems. So you can see there is a dashboard, and we're sitting in one place. We can just see everything, whether there is an excessive vibration or temperature in these gearboxes or motors. And also there's a back-end computing going on, which is based on machine learning models and artificial intelligence. So it can tell us whether there is going to be a failure in future, and what it gives us 3 degrees of alert, whether we have to look at immediately or it can be planned for a shutdown, or whether we can just run with it for some time and wait for the regular maintenance opportunity. So since in the beginning only I told that we have partnered with McKinsey for our transformation journey, and we are in that phase now. So I'll now just hand over to my friend from McKinsey, Prabhav, who will take it forward from here. Thank
you. Thank you, Deepak ji, for an excellent presentation. I'm just going to now focus, I think, sales journey, Deepak ji has described very, very well. I think I just want to step back a bit and talk about a bit of a global perspective on what we are seeing in this journey, and hopefully inspire on what is the potential possibilities out there, which are there. So I think this is a chart which talks about what I'm going to talk about, what's the experience based on. So there's about 16 to 20 large scale steel operations and other metal operations out there where we have personally worked in terms of delivering the traditional AI and on increasingly now the agentic and the generative AI on improving steel profitability. I think the economic impact which Sir talked about, I think how to go about that. These are the examples. So all the learnings are based on that. The problem is it's hard. I think you must have read a recent MIT research also that it's not easy, right? While everybody is talking about how AI is going to be complete game changer for the industry, there are very few people who have even started to realize the impact of traditional AI, leave alone the next step of agentic and gen. So this, by the way, is a chart. This is a survey we do every year. And this result has not changed from 2016. It's still out there. 75% of people approximately, they are saying we are still stuck in what they call pilot purgatory, where they are basically taking one use case, two use cases and implementing that. And probably they are getting some impact out of it, but the enterprise level transformations are actually not happening, right? So that is basically the issue, which is getting stuck. And then we ask the reason, why is that the case? Because everybody is so excited about the technology. Why is that the case? And you see the reasons on the right-hand side. Number one reason actually is commitment from leadership, right? I see in this room though, right, a different story. I see, by the way, when we work with SAIL, a complete different story. That's why we are very, very hopeful and positive that will succeed. But one of the reasons why AI is not able to succeed is because there is not unwavering commitment. This stuff is not easy, it's hard. And it will take time for it to get implemented. There will be lots of challenges. And the unwavering support of leadership is like number one issue. With lack of that, you're not going to get the impact. There are other issues, for example, fragmented data landscape. In many of the, these plants have been built, organically. You have added capacity. You have used one kind of system, then you have used another kind of system. So there's a significant fragmentation in terms of data landscape, and integrating that to generate insights is another problem. Again, you will see these challenges. The solutions to these problems exist within this room. I'm sure many of the startups, many of the agencies you are working with, we personally work with, have solutions to all these problems. But I think it's about bringing it all together so that the equation changes from 75-25 to 9 to almost 10-90. That's, I think, should be the aspiration. Based on the experience we talked about of the 1620, and by the way, hundreds of others in different sectors, here is a playbook I'm going to leave you with on what we believe is the potential solution. Again, this is a fully integrated picture, which starts with what do you want to achieve? And I think, again, if the aspiration is small, if the aspiration is we want to implement one use case, two use cases, three use cases, I think, again, that will not get the support of the leadership, right? What we are now talking about is complete reimagination of how you do work, because you can change. I'm going to give you two examples today, right, in the subsequent part of the presentation on how procurement and how maintenance in a steel function can be completely reimagined using agentic AI. The point is, do we have the aspiration and the vision to, first of all, imagine how things can be completely different going forward? That's part one. If you know where to go, then the next part is the how, which is composed of three things, or five things actually. Talent. I think Deepak ji talked about it. The good news is that talent exists within these companies, and with the partnership with startups and others, the talent can be brought in. So talent is one. Technology, again, I don't doubt that, again, technological solutions are all existing. It's about making sure that the technology is swappable, the technology is reusable, the technology is something which is quite reliable. And again, I think the solutions exist there. Operating model is very important. Our steel plants, fortunately or unfortunately, we are all engineers, right, who work in steel plant. We have a very set way of thinking. We call it a waterfall approach. When we build a plant, we wait for 2 years, 3 years, sometimes 4 years, and voila, the plant then is there, right, for us to. AI doesn't work like that. I think the people who develop AI in this room, they will know it's a very agile methodology. It's a fail fast kind of approach which works. It works on a 2-week rhythm rather than a yearly rhythm. So how do we change the culture of these companies to understand that AI works very differently? It's not waterfall, it's agile approach is very important. And data, right, we talked about. But the last statement I will make on this slide is actually very critical. You can read in the fine prints. McKinsey recommends that for every $1 you spend on technology, keep $1 more for skill development. Because if you do not do that, you can implement whatever technology you want, you will not get the results. So every $1, that's the equation I want you to keep in mind. For every $1 you spend on technology, spend $1 on skill. 2 minutes. This, by the way, is a slide which again from the experience we had. This is, by the way, I would say quite conservative. This is what has been delivered till now. We, by the way, didn't have agentic and Gen AI when we did this. Just by using traditional AI, $50 per ton of crude steel is an impact we have seen. If I multiply that by the 300 million tons of capacity, which I think is the aspiration by 2030, that's $15 billion of value which exists right here in this room, right, to be achieved. So it's a huge aspiration, which I think is quite exciting. I'll just finish with one slide. I'm not going to take 2 examples because we are lacking time. I'll take one example of procurement just to bring it to life what we are talking about now. This is the next version of AI. If you focus on the bottom layer, this is what we call knowledge layer. So imagine hundreds of years of McKinsey's experience, which, by the way, no expert can talk about because nobody lives for that long in the work area. Hundreds of years of McKinsey experience on how to do procurement. Several years of how Bloomberg looks at things, how the best contracts are designed, all coming together in a knowledge layer, which is accessible to you on a click of a button. That is not possible without agentic AI. That's the first thing, which is the knowledge layer, which you need to develop. Second is, based on that, how do you create a data layer? The data layer is internal. You have the data. You have your contracts. You have your ERP systems. It's about connecting that. So knowledge layer, data layer connected together to build what we call a thinking layer, which is the models, the AI models, which again, lots of you people can think about and develop. Once you do that, then the magic starts, what we call the action layer, where you can use these agents to do the work which is very difficult for humans to do. Like, for example, every single invoice, is it matching with the contract? Or are you overpaying, right, for the invoices? How do you design the best contracts for the different things which you are doing? Because different contract structures exist. So all those things can be done if you do the first 3 things. And then finally, for every leader, there's an always-on dashboard, which is out there, which is in the room, which is talking about whether you're actually taking these actions or not and what value you're deriving from. So that's the next step of how you can think about complete reimagination of domains, which I think should be the aspiration. I'll stop now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, everybody, for patiently listening. We'll take any questions.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hi.
I'm
audible? Hello. I'm Saket from Business Standard. My question pertains to how this entire integration of AI into steel sector is going to impact job market, the hiring patterns. So that is the first question that I have. And then I'll ask like a couple of more questions as well.
I think you have asked a very typical question. Everybody is afraid that AI will take away their jobs, but we all know that so many times this has happened. When computers came, the same questions was asked, whether the computers will deprive everybody of their capabilities or all their jobs will be eaten away. But it never happened, and I'm sure, although I'm not really the expert for this, but in the steel industry at least, there are many things which will keep on going. The AI will only assist our people. First of all, this is not going to be in a closed loop. Most of the models will be in open loop. So there'll be advisory mode models. which will be telling the current operators how to do things and how to improve upon the processes. And in general, if you ask, there'll be only some change of jobs. So the skill set that is required would be different probably by the usage of AI.
But do we have like enough skilled people who could actually like learn the
We
AI
have to
tools?
upskill them. This is what one of our
Deepak, let me just try to answer your question in 2 sentences. I'm Amrinder Prakash. I'm
Yeah,
Chairman
I know.
Steel Authority of India. Imagine in SAIL, when we started our digital journey about a year back, I have had to pull out 200 engineers from across my plants to put on working on digital and AI. So I generated 200 jobs rather than cut down on the jobs.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Hello, sir. I'm Pradeep Kumar Gupta, an independent consultant with IISCA. I have one question in contrast to the China's growth story. China has something about 1,000 tons of steel. India is something about 200 roughly. Last year, I think that 150 was their production. So don't you think that we have to scale up, we have to speed up our speed to by 6 times?
I think Secretary Sir will be in a better position to answer this.
By the way, this is not a steel session, this is an AI session, but all of them see the capacity will broadly be decided by the demand. You can't create capacity if there is no demand. As I showed that in next 10 years, we expect that our demand will be roughly around 300 plus ton, which will need about 400 million tons of capacity. So you can't, as I said, in other parts of the world, steel plants are actually getting closed. No new steel plants are coming. So it will depend on the demand of steel, which in India is good.
So what was my addition was that we have to scale up, speed up 6 times our, we have to put more strength as terms of AI or whatever it is in all the spheres of steel sector to move the graph of our steel industry to that pace. That's
correct.
That's the thing. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Deepak.
Yes. Yes.
Good morning. I represent a startup, D-Driven, and I am myself a retired CIO of Indian Oil Corporation. So, and now engaged with D-Driven. And you talked about the IT, OT data coming from historians and IT data. My company has a ready-to-deploy platform of IT, OT data integration, which we are executing in public sectors and private sector in India also. And I would like to interact with you post this session.
Sir, thank you so much. And we are in fact we do require such interventions because we are going to have a proper edge and cloud infrastructure set up for SAIL. And we'll definitely like to connect with us. And there's a QR which you must have scanned that we can directly connect with us. I think this was the last question for this session. We'll probably be having a question and answer session just after this session. Thank you so much.
You. Next, I invite Sri Satyendra Rai, Executive Director, Digital Transformation, NMDC Limited, and Sri Niladri Nath Bhattacharya and Sri Deepak Kumar from Grant Thornton, Bharat. We would like to request you to please limit time to 10 minutes, please. That's one request, please.
Honorable Secretary Steel, senior officers from the Ministry, CMD and directors from CPSUs under Ministry of Steel, representatives from the solution provider companies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. I am Satyendra Rai working as Executive Director DT in NMDC. I, along with Mr. Niladri from GT, who happens to be our partner for helping us in implementing digital initiatives in NMDC, will be making a brief presentation on how AI can be leveraged in mining. The presentation flow is as what we see on the screen. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have depicted the journey of NMDC. NMDC was incorporated in the year 1958 as a PSU to do mining in sector generally other than oil and coal. Over a period of time, it so happened in many of the mines what NMDC had started, they went on to become a separate corporation. Our first mine started in the year 1968 at Kirandul, Chhattisgarh. We got listed in 1997. 2008, we became Navratna, and our major finds. Our major digital initiative started in the year 2019, and as a first major step, we implemented. Okay, fine. Here I am just, I would like to briefly touch the mining value chain so as for the solution provider to understand, it will help them in deciding where their solution can fit in this entire mining value chain. And as it is said, an image or a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. I just have a 1 minute brief video depicting this mining value chain, which starts with mine planning, drilling, blasting, excavation, hauling, pressing, screening, stacking, and dispatch. I'll just play this 1 minute video. Briefly, I have tried to depict the entire mining value chain. Now I would talk about some of the initiatives that we have recently implemented or which are ongoing. The first being fleet management. This is a solution to optimize utilization of HEM equipment, wherein equipment can be assigned in real time, and trips and tonnage, fuel consumption, other metrics can be automatically captured. It has other modules like equipment health monitoring, tire pressure management. So these are, and some of the benefit accrued are largely improved utilization, improved productivity, and better maintenance of equipment. And the second solution, for want of time, I am just briefly touching. The technology also which has been used in the solution has been mentioned out here. The second solution which I am talking about is digitally enabling drilling and blasting. This solution basically will enable us to have a better fragmentation. And I would like to mention here the entire value chain, the cost of production depends on the quality of fragmentation. If you have a lesser oversize, that will impact the cost of production across the entire mining value chain. The third solution is, sir has already talked about, this solution is the stockpile management. This solution helps us in managing the stockpile in real time with a 2D and 3D visualization, and it will also help us in remotely managing the stockpile. Now I would like to invite to talk on the problem statement. I would like to invite our partner, Mr. GT, from GT, Mr. Niladri, to speak on the problem statement.
Namaste everyone, dignitaries, and thank you, sir. I will just quickly come to the business end of the discussion. We are here to seek help from business partners and solution providers in some of these identified problem statements. So one of the things that we would like to start off with is in the dispatch domain. Here we receive a lot of rakes. We want an independent system wherein we are able to look at the stenciled numbers on the rakes and have an independent data backup of the condition of the wagon, of the amount of loading that we are doing in the wagon, and the wagon number specifically, so that we are able to reconcile any mismatches later on in the supply chain to prevent leakages. The second solution of importance for us is to ensure that the truck movements that happen inside the mine, the trucks that come from outside, we are able to ensure that they spend minimum time in the mine, they do not lead to congestion, and as a result, it is important for us to use AI-based tools to be able to add more value to based on the existing digital solutions that we already have. So we want to capture that information. And associated with that is an amount of, to reduce the turnaround time, NMDC has a practice of having customer designated stockpile. So therefore, we have to send the truck back to a designated stockpile in the event there is a case of overloading, and to prevent idle loads also. We want to prevent it at the source by application of different technologies. While we have given here a potential solution as a vision-based solution, but we already have load cells, you can try to couple multiple data sources to come up with the thinking layer that was presented by the previous speaker from SAIL and come up with a solution for that. Insofar as mining is concerned, the digital twin is under development. It will be available soon, but it will give you a picture of the mine at any point in time. We want solutions which sits on top of this digital twin and predicts where the haul road needs maintenance next. Those kinds of things. And also in terms of slope monitoring, it is very important to prevent any safety issues. Therefore, we need AI-based solutions which can, based on either remote sensing data or based on very cheap sensors or even LIDAR and regular surveys, electronic total station surveys, you are able to compare the position of the slope versus one day ago and tell us how the slope is likely to behave and prevent. This is the next area. Crusher and chute jamming is very common. It happens because of oversized material. We would like startups to help us through vision-based solutions or a combination of vision and jerk-based solutions which you can capture through load cells, how to identify whether boulders are there in a certain dumper, and to prevent that dumper from unloading that load into a hopper. So this is one area. In terms of conveyors, there can be 15 to 20 use cases, of which these use cases are very important for us because there are heat signatures, there are electrical signatures, there are different bearing load temperature signatures that you can find. Yeah. So a conveyor which has multiple pulleys across several kilometers, and there is a head drum and there is a tail drum, it is required for us to be able to capture different types of signatures through the entire length of the conveyor and to determine which part of the conveyor requires servicing next, so that we are able to move away from preventive and failure-based maintenance to predictive-based maintenance. So these are some of the areas where we need, you can have, since these conveyors also have steel cords within them, so you can capture magnetic signatures also, or heat, vibration, different signatures, and produce results based on that. In terms of safety and e-surveillance, there are different solutions that you can come up to us with. It is not only in the domain of just PPE monitoring through image analytics. If you have other solutions using wearables or using a combination of image analytics and wearables, then those would be very welcome. And needless to say, your ideas are needed. So in addition to these problem statements, what NMDC has done is that NMDC wants, so just wanted to just briefly touch upon a couple of points. So for instance, NMDC is in the process of implementing smart meters. We would like you to suggest solutions that can sit on top of this data that is going to pour in and help manage our energy more effectively. Similarly, NMDC has a major problem in Bacheli Kirandul area where there is heavy fog in winter. It is important for us to be able to drive our vehicles safely. So we would like you to suggest image enhancement algorithms and image enhancement tools using whatever neural network solutions that you have, so as to strengthen and this particular solution element. Broadly, even if you're not servicing this sector currently and you have access or you have expertise in some of these core technology areas that are relevant for us, you may bring your solutions and apply your minds beyond your existing sectors to the problems of the mining sector. I would like you to scan this QR code and save it as a favorite. You can get access to this presentation as well as reach out to NMDC directly in addition to SRTMI to conduct further discussions. So I'm just holding on to this slide for a couple of seconds. Please do scan and save. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Niladri. We would request to hold everyone to park their questions at this point of time. We have an open floor session where we'll take up the questions. Thank you.
We'll move forward quickly due to paucity of time. I now request Sarajit Jha, Chief Enterprise IT and Digital from Tata Steel Limited, to kindly come forward with his presentation.
Where is the Anna? Can you just help? Okay, while he's just helping with the presentation, I will keep this very, very brief. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Tata Steel, I would just make a couple of points. I heard that if you have power in your point, then you don't need PowerPoint. I think I'm being tested here. And the one point I would like to say is, I'll start with a shairi. कि फौलाद हम बनाते हैं, which is true for the entire steel industry. फौलाद हम बनाते हैं, फौलाद से हम बने नहीं. तमन्ना जो दिल में है, तमन्ना जो दिल में है, भगवान की कसम फौलाद से कम भी तो नहीं. So very quickly, let me just move on to one thing. What have we done? If in 10 years ago, and my boss and group and global CIO, Mr. Banerjee, sitting there in the audience, so thanks Jayanta for coming. This is actually his story. And this is the story where 78% of our production comes from World Economic Forum Lighthouse Identity sites globally. This is the story where we have 11.2 petabytes of data. This is the story where we have 650 running AI/ML models. This is the story where our global response to COVID was in the top 6%. This is the story where we have developed all of this indigenously and are indigenizing the capabilities that we have. This is the story where we have my friend Jaideep Chakrabarti, if you would please stand up, That's Jaideep. He heads up the part of Tata Steel Industrial Consulting, and he's helping a lot of global companies. This is the story where we run IROC, Integrated Remote Operations Center, where we can run 6 of our plants from 6 kilometers away. We can run it from 300 kilometers away, and we have been challenged to bring our European operations and maintenance to be run out of India, which is underway. It's more about fiber and regulation and data privacy rather than anything else. This is also the story where we did Asia's largest cloud migration at that time of 24 TB of data, and we still don't have that kind of sized appliances yet in India, and thanks to IBM Sovereign Cloud that they're bringing it here. So this is broadly what we have achieved. Now, as they say, if you talk too much about history, then you wouldn't have a geography going forward. So we are very, very humble about what we need to do next. What we have is, as the speaker after speaker have said, the cloud data and the AI. So you have obviously got all of our data is in the cloud. We are almost 100% cloud native, except for practices and devices that we need to have in the plants on the edge. The Chief Automation Officer of Tata Steel, Gyan Prakash, has kindly agreed to attend this session. And many of you may reach out to him if you have any solutions there. In terms of the data, one thing I would like to say is that what got us here will not get us there. What got us here is that the transaction data that we have, 11.2 petabytes, has been made human readable. In order for agentic AI and the next generation of generative AI to come in and give its maximum potential, this data needs to be made, the metadata needs to be made machine readable. Since a lot of you are technically oriented, this is the crux of the matter. And the other thing that needs to happen is you cannot use AI as another tool. AI has to be used as a team member. Think of it like a summer trainee who came to your, the smartest intern who came to our organizations. You spent time with him, you mentored him, and that's why some of you who are leading Indian industry and some of you who are leading the startup gen today are where you are because you had mentors and leaders who taught you, who allowed you to make mistakes. You have to teach AI, you have to allow it to make mistakes. I will just quickly come to 3 use cases because I think all my colleagues have covered a lot of what I had wanted to say. So we talked about health and safety. This is an area we are still struggling. The entire industry is struggling. We still have fatalities in the steel industry, and it's very, very sorry if people who come to work, they have left their families, they have left children behind, they have left aging parents behind, and we cannot guarantee that they will return to their homes. And this is where we have a lot of cameras, 11,000 I think, 2,000 of them have been AI enabled, which means 9,000 are not AI enabled. And you will have all the problems of low resolution, you have the problems of dust. But you need to be able to predict, as was being said, SOP compliance. You need to be able to predict safety compliance. And you need to be making sure that a lot of the behaviors which lead to most of the problems in a steel plant are actually covered. This is one area where I think we have done a lot of work, but the universe is open and a lot more work can be done. Let me take one example where sustainability, which is the new digital, and industrial production have a congruence. You have the coke oven gases. See, we are not in the business of steel. We are actually in the business of carbon dioxide. So since we are in the business of carbon dioxide, you need to make sure that you use carbon dioxide efficient. 7 to 11% of all global pollution comes from one industry, which is ours. We are not proud of it, but it's also the opportunity of where we need to work, and all of us needs to. If the steel industry can't solve its carbon problem, the world can't solve the climate change problem. It's a very strong statement I'm making, but that's the reality of where we are. So bear in mind what we have done here. We predict when the flaring and the coke oven gases will be done so that we can deploy it for generation of power. Because power generation needs to have complete predictability, whereas the coke oven generation, if it doesn't match that predictability, we as an industry will not be able to form. I would just say one thing, there are a lot of such analogous opportunities where predictability in a continuous process with a lot of variability can be brought in. I would request all the minds to focus into it. And I'll say this, what you can crack in the steel industry is a child's play in another industry. I remember once the CEO of a cement industry was not very fond of me because I showed them the lime kiln. I said, that's your industry. So I'm sure all of my steel colleagues would sort of identify with that comment. And finally, I'll give one example from the front end, which is customer experience. Ultimately, I work for the customer experience area. We have a platform called Ashiana. It literally happened in India. This year, we are going to close sales of about 6,000 crores, which means that 6,000 crores worth of rebars and other products we've actually sold on the net. Average ticket size on the platform is 1.7 lakhs, and it's being brought by people who have never transacted on the net. So we are really an advertisement for Digital Bharat. And the third part is that we are very, very proud of that transactions are all moving towards UPI. So if you're buying 1.7 lakhs and giving that money to us, it means that you trust us more than the bank. And I think that's something that we are very, very proud of. But importantly, what's helping us to do that is a number of very complicated models that we have created, because we have very, very scanned data. You will buy a rebar only 2.3 times in your life. So we have very, very scanned data to convert. And we have created an entire framework and delivering the results that we are delivering. I am very proud to give you back 2 minutes of your time. I would only end by saying another thing, that the journey is long, and your 3 friends are data, talent, and patience. And you need to train it, because about 10 years ago, we realized it's easier to train a person in the steel industry who has learned physics and chemistry and data sciences than it is to train a person who has learned data sciences, physics, and chemistry. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We now invite Sri Dinesh Raut, Vice President Operations and Digital Champion Vijayanagar Works, JSW Steel Limited, for his presentation, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Esteemed dignitaries, Secretary Steel, and attendees. I'll quickly go through, straight away to the subject, not much about company. So, at JSW, we basically define our transformation. So my name is Dinesh Raut. I head the operation of hot strip mill there in Vijayanagar in Bellary plant. So JSW is a 34 million ton steel plant, is a steel player in India. I also lead the digital transformation journey in Bellary unit. So we define this in terms of these 6 boxes. So for a digital transformation journey to be successful in a steel industry, kind of a process-centric industry, we measure, our concept is measure everything, connect everything, get insights from everything, integrate everything, and then optimize everything. So PQCD SME is your focus areas, and then on bottom line, you'll either have a customer satisfaction going in or value being delivered. So that's what the concept. And we just don't do digital interventions or implementation just for sake of doing it. We mean business. So for every digital initiative that you take, we tag it to a business KPI and drive it. That's how we engage. The McKinsey guy told that the leadership commitment is less. That's why we address that solution by connecting it to the business. Quickly on specifics in terms of data and AI applications across the value chain. These are some of the areas that we're working, and there are a lot more to work in this. So solution providers and startups who are in this forum can take a note of this. In each of these areas, you can predict properties, you can predict process parameters, which can give you the best of energy or best of optimized outputs, and then you can create models, and then it can be a simple ML-based model, or it can have a lot more training given and an AI-based model, which can directly impact the business. We are already doing some of them, but it needs more to be tuned and more value to be delivered from this. Some examples I'm going to talk, the previous presenters already talked, so I'll quickly go into Now this is also another example where the inquiry management system can be made through an AI tool where an inquiry response by a sales guy to a customer can happen in 24 hours, along with the likely cost, likely quality rate that the product will have when it will get produced, raw material inputs, alloy inputs, everything can be done. This is something which is logistics, inbound, outbound, and in-plant digitalization, where it can happen seamlessly like a parking lot. The vehicle comes in, the driver gets a message, his driving license, the PUC of the car of the truck gets checked, the drop gets opened, goes to the loading point, gets loaded, invoice gets generated, and the billing happens seamlessly. We are already doing this. Now, this is the slide which is connecting the essence of this function why I'm here. So my experience in JSW or any other steel industry of why the startups or why are not taking that much of on the critical mass which we expect is that in general, before that, in general, JSW prefers to work with startups. Two reasons. One, it brings down the cost dramatically. This is one, we have seen it. We ourselves has, if I have to use that word, launched many startups, and from nowhere they are now become stars in the industry. My feeling is you get a lot of support, a lot of energy, and especially the technocrats who are the founders of the startups give a lot of energy and enthusiasm initially to drive into the details and get support. So that's one of the benefits that we get. So we always enjoy working with startups, and as a culture, our senior management and the directionally also it has been spread across the organization that yes, we must engage startups to drive solutions to your business. But some of the challenges which put us down sometimes or reduces the pace are this. We find that the domain expertise in these startups are little less, so that becomes difficult for our people to communicate with the startups. So they are basically data scientists, know how to crunch data, but understanding how a pellet is made, how an iron making and a sinter is made. So they are in understanding gap. So he develops a model based on certain data, which is again curated data. If the problem statement is very specific, clear, the current startups that we have been working in India are ready to deliver. But if there are some understanding which our people also needs or the industry also needs, there we find that in technical expert kind of thing in terms of domains normally is missing. So for that we have to depend on some multinationals who bring in some data scientists and also some process experts, and then the solution becomes expensive. So we want startups, especially Indian startups, to develop this part of the skill and get detail into the business. The other one is most of our industries. I have fair understanding about other companies in Tata Steel, other companies like Tata Steel or other steel industries. We have many units which has legacy systems, old systems. So the data are not in terms of very organized way. It has to be layered. So curation is not there. So there has to be some startup or some industry or some experts who has to put an effort in getting those data in place. So if that is in place, I think the AI implementation adoption will be much easier. The third one is sometimes there is a trust mismatch between our people and the startup saying that yes, this will work or not, I do not know. So POC is a beautiful concept which the startups must invest in having a POC and demonstrating their solution. Sometimes we find that startups lose patience. They build a data sheet, they build a model, they started giving some results and they say my POC is done. But that becomes difficult to sell this idea to the final user. That is probably the reason why in one of the survey it came out that the business leaders' commitment is not there because they actually do not visualize that direct connect to the business. Yes, when there are updation or any customizations required on the data model that was worked, typically we have seen that the startups or other companies, they would request or they would prefer that we should again go back to them for any minor changes that we need to do. But that becomes very difficult that these companies do not want to get a kind of a binding to anyone for future modifications also. So my suggestion is the startup should develop the genetic models, customization, they must give access to the users to do this, train them and so that they can do it. Last but not the least is sometimes you need to focus on the solution rather than just creating a model. That will happen if we have a problem statement coming from the user or from the steel industry. kind of benefit sharing can be done. Yes, I will deliver this, and the benefits that you get, you share on a percentage, and and I think that kind of a model is a win-win thing that will work. So we think these are the 5-6 things which, if startups focus on, the penetration will be much more than what it is at present. One of the example is, if you are doing a modeling of predictive maintenance or any other tools, instead of developing a specific customized solution for industry, any industry you go or any steel industry, any department you go, you will find these 5 or 6 units. So you develop customized models for this. You just pick and choose and make the thing for your entire P&I diagram, whatever numbers are there. You just send the spec and you can do that. Kind of an approach by any startup will actually help in driving this implementation much faster and much deeper. One example where one slide I tried to put some of the things. Just there are not, this is not exhaustive, these are some indications in each zone: agglomeration zone, iron zone, steel zone, mill zone, and service zone. What are the things that we can do, whether it is pure data science projects, whether it is process optimization model, whether it is video analytics, or whether it is any other things like IoT or connectivity solutions, LoRaWAN, and all this. So I'll leave these slides. I think these slides I will communicate so you can get it in positive time. I'll do so. Summary. These are key focus areas that we currently have at JSW. So we are heavy on in eliminating man-machine interfaces. I think video analytics plays a very critical role here in providing solutions. And actually the AI and startup companies can help in doing this. The return on investment in such applications are not much. If you see the past data of accident has not happened. So it is very difficult. But these are sustenance and safety projects. So having a cheaper solution or low cost solution which works reliably is the solution, that is the answer that the startups can only provide. So whether it is an equipment failing or it's something undesirable happening, a quality standard not being made, that's about identifying the undesirable event and putting a process in place so that that can be either avoided or can be acted upon fast as a decision-making support is something that the startups can work on. End-to-end digitalization is something which is not many examples are there in the industry. So we either focus a part of the process and solution, but when you integrate it and complete value chain we do, the value becomes much more. It is actually multiplying. So those kind of solutions we should do. One of the things which will help is having a domain knowledge about the entire value chain will help in doing end-to-end with digitalization in steel industry. Data analysis, decision supports, dashboards and auto generation reports, and digitalization process control. The ROI of such kind of applications is immediate. It is less than 3 to 4 months. If you have a good model which helps you to optimize data, the benefits are definitely paying back less than 3 to 4 months. Yeah. That's it. Thank you very much. Any questions? We'll take it later.
I would now like to request Ms. Ambika Anand, Director, Ministry of Steel, to provide a brief overview of SRTMI.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all of you. It is a privilege to introduce the Steel Research and Technology Mission of India, SRTMI, a national collaborative platform established under the leadership of the Ministry of Steel, along with leading steel industry players. It serves as a dedicated platform to foster structured collaboration between industry, academia, research institutions, startups, and independent innovators to drive research, innovation, and technology development across India's steel sector. We recognize that startups are at the forefront of AI, digital transformation, clean technologies, and process innovation, areas that are critical for the modernization of steel. To support this, SRTMI offers not just collaboration, but structured funding support. Funds are provided under different schemes, such as the Challenge Method, the Open Innovation Method, the Startup Accelerator Scheme, and Capital Goods Indigenization Scheme. Importantly, the funding model is designed to reduce financial burden on innovators. Depending upon the scheme, SRTMI supports between 50 to 100% of the project cost, with the remaining amount contributed by industry partners. We see startups as key partners in shaping the future of sustainable and technology-driven steel manufacturing in India. And as Secretary Sir mentioned in his opening remarks, SRTMI is the single point of contact. It is here to provide the support to help in scaling up these ideas into real industrial impact. I would like to invite everyone here to visit the ministry's stall and go through our flyers for more details or visit the SRTMI website. Now, through a short video, we would like to present the SRTMI portal and how startups and innovators can engage and collaborate on providing solutions to challenges within the steel sector ecosystem.
Welcome to the official website of the Steel Research and Technology Mission of India. This portal connects industry, academia, startups, and researchers to accelerate innovation in India's steel sector. By partnering with SRTMI, you get the access to India's largest steel R&D ecosystem, strategic funding and support. Let us explore what the SRTMI website has to offer its stakeholders. The About section explains SRTMI's vision, objectives, and its role in strengthening industry-academia collaboration for steel R&D. Under Schemes tab, explore initiatives such as the Challenge Method, Open Innovation, the Steel Startup Accelerator, and Capital Goods Scheme designed to address industry problems and promote technology development. The Steel Collab tab is a digital collaboration platform where steel companies, researchers, and startups connect to share challenges and co-develop solutions. Resources and documents provide access to guidelines, reports, and technical materials, while news and updates keep stakeholders informed about announcements and events. The Contact Us tab enables direct communication with SRTMI for partnerships and queries. The Steel Startup Accelerator Scheme is SRTMI's dedicated program that supports steel-focused startups by providing financial assistance to scale prototypes, pilot technologies, and demonstrate industrial applications. Startups can submit proposals for funding support after signing up to the portal by providing their details and uploading one government identification proof and one organization document. The proposal can be submitted thereafter after providing details as provided in the guidelines for submission of proposals. Startups can also find industry partners for collaboration through Steel Collab platform. Steel Collab serves as a matchmaking platform between industries, academia, and startups within the Indian steel ecosystem. This platform enables startups to post their innovative solutions to industry challenges. They can also review previously submitted ideas, ensuring visibility into whether similar approaches are already being addressed. By navigating through key focus areas such as digitalization and Industry 4, startups can gain insights into who has submitted solutions and the current status of each initiative. In addition, the platform provides access to problems posed directly by industry leaders. This opens opportunities for startups to design new solutions tailored to real-world needs. The Steel Collab platform is designed to help startups move from idea to pilot deployment. In summary, SRTMI serves as a comprehensive gateway for helping transform ideas into deployable technologies for the Indian steel ecosystem.
We shall now close this session, but there's an important announcement that we'd like to make. We invite all participating startups to share detailed notes on their potential solutions aligned with the needs of CPSEs, as you saw here, whether in productive maintenance, process optimization, energy efficiency, supply chain digitization, or decarbonization, as demonstrated at our stall adjacent, which is right here. Selected startups will be given an opportunity to present their work and demonstrate their solutions on 6th March 2026, providing a direct platform to engage with leadership from the ministry and the industry. So request you to visit our stall, which is right here, and come during lunchtime. Any questions that you would like to take, they can always be taken up at that point of time. Okay? Thank you all for being with us here today. And thank you, Secretary Steele, for being with us today. And we hope you have a wonderful day ahead. And thank you. Thank you so much.